They're the ones who go through the vetting process of becoming a Google partner. They actually don't just become it right away. They do have to be vetted. And once Google approves them being a Google partner, they have access to an entire Google community as well as the Google team. So they are the boots on the ground right there for you to help support you should you have any questions after today's webinar, or you'd like to see more training or even see this training happen again. Okay, so I see Ruthlyn, I see you here, Rosalind. Thank you, I see you here too. How do I register? Okay, let's, the registration link, let me get to that real quick. Hold on, give me a moment. I'll bring it up. It's just another tab that I have to bring up here, and I vary my tabs when I'm presenting. Give me a couple more clicks. All right. Oh, okay, so somebody else asked, how could you get credit? You don't get credit for it unless you are a Google partner. Google partners get credit for how many people they bring to a actual. So there's how you register. I just sent the registration link out to all of you, so you should see that there. And just copy and paste that, use that registration link, and now you can register for it and you can get in as well. Yep, no worries. But yes, individuals don't get credit, but Google partners, so those are the organizations you see listed here, get credit for that. Google watches how many people that they actually bring to an event. So it's really, really important that you register, because we want Alpha Kappa Alpha, all the sorority and all the different chapters, as well as Lone Star College, Goodwill Industries of Fort Worth, the Workforce Solutions of Tarrant County. Lacey, sorry about that. Just started off saying Texas right away, but it's Workforce Solutions. The Harris County Public Library Atascocita branch, Mary, I know you're here, and the Bay City Library. So we want to make sure that they all get credit. So remember the Google partner who invited you, but you use the registration link that they sent you, and you had that question asked about who invited you, and that's how they get credit. Okay. All right. We've got Courtney here. Yes, yes, yes. Go Diana, Cynthia, Ashley. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Let's go ahead and dive in, because today we're going to be talking about how you can improve your resume with practical strategies. So let's go through exactly how you can make your resume better. Now, if you want to learn anything more, you can go to this URL, google.com/grow. Again, if you need closed captions, this is the URL here. And if you are tweeting or posting, if you'll use the hashtag #GrowWithGoogle, it lets the Google team know that you like this and it matters to you, and it encourages them to make more, which I love free training that's provided to our Google partners. If you are on Twitter, this is my handle here. Feel free to tweet, post, use the hashtag, tag me. I'll be glad to retweet whatever you share. And this is my handle on Instagram, Maria Elena Duron, my whole first name. So please feel free to do that, and I'll share you in my stories as well. It's not allowing you to copy and paste. You're on a mobile phone. Not sure if somebody can email her the link. I can't do anything more than then paste it into here. So unfortunately, it's a long URL. All right, let's go ahead and dive in, everybody. How much time do you think on average that an employer actually spends looking at a resume? Let me know. I want to see your answers in the question box. This is your chance to participate. Remember what I said about every webinar customized to you. How long do you think they look? Okay, I see some 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 10 minutes. I see somebody with the right answer. 5 minutes, 5 minutes. Minute or two, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Okay, see a couple of people with the right answers. 30 seconds, a glance, 1 minute, scan it, 30 minutes. All right, there are 3 people that had the right one, and some people in general had the right one when they said less than a minute. So here's what the actual answer is: 6 to 7 seconds. That's how much time somebody looks at your resume. That's the only time that you have to capture their attention and to be able to get them to say, tell me more. You see, the job of the resume is not to sell you at all. It's not going to do that. It is only to get the person looking at the resume to say, tell me more, because now they will take you out of that stack, be it electronic or an actual manual stack, take you out of that stack, and now they will showcase you here and give you the chance to really look and now ask from you to tell me more. And that is when you truly sell yourself. Nobody's gotten the job, or I should say not nobody, that's an absolute, but there are very, very few. It's very rare that somebody gets a job from just a resume, because again, people are inundated with resumes so fast. Remember what I said about I'm looking for a data analyst? I interviewed a couple this morning. Well, when I put out the job for a data analyst, within the first 15 minutes, I received 28 resumes. Of the 28 resumes, I scanned through those in the first 15 minutes and picked out 2 that I liked. From the 2 that I liked, after that, I went on and I took care of business. I had many other things to do. I took those other 2. Since then, another 30 people have applied. Have I looked at their resume? Not in the least, because I like the 2. And that's who I'm going to go with. So do know that that is the life of somebody who is looking through resumes. They don't spend all day just absorbing them. They're usually doing other things. And so it has to be really quick and you have to capture their attention. All right, 6 to 7 seconds. So today we're going to observe several types of resumes and we're going to learn about the 4 strategies for you to improve your resume. And then of course, we're going to create a checklist because I am very much a fan of applied knowledge. Knowledge is not power. It's not powerful until it is applied. And I'm going to go through how you're going to apply with that. And retired, but quite interested in knowing the Q&A. Oh, absolutely, Victoria. So when I get to the Q&A, just so you know, because I do like interaction and I will answer your questions, Victoria, as they pertain to what we're talking about. But if it's lengthy or there's any, private detail there, I'll save those to the end. That is when I stop the recording to save absolutely your confidentiality and your privacy. But also this is a benefit to people who are here live. Right? So I don't keep the Q&A part on or the recording on for the Q&A, but everybody here will have that. And as long as somebody's asking, I'll stay after. So I don't want to keep you. I'm respectful of your time. But at the same time, if you have questions, I want you to know I'm here for you. All right, so we're going to do a quick exercise. This is the whole reason I'm not on camera right now, is for the resume quick challenge, because I know how small this can be. You are going to have 6 to 7 seconds to say yes or no that you would want for this person to tell you more, that you would want to even interview and talk to this person just from looking at their resume. So you're going to walk in the shoes of somebody who is the decision maker, maybe the business owner, could be the department manager, could be the head of HR. Wherever they are doing, you're going to walk in their shoes, and for a moment, you're going to go through resumes. All right, everybody? So I need you to be ready with your question box to be able to tell me yes or no. Just put a Y for yes and for no, okay? And if you have any other comments, I'm happy to share those because you guys are very insightful. Ready to go? I've got my stopwatch on. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and take a look well, before we put the stopwatch on, we need to know what the criteria is. It's the only time that I'm going to read to you during the webinar, but here this is. This is the job that we are trying to fill. We seek a high performer to join our sales team. The successful candidate will be responsible, motivated sales associate with proven experience. This person will manage the entire sales cycle, identifying sales needs, locating and expanding new markets, designing and delivering sales presentations, and presiding over negotiations. You will build and maintain expertise about a range of company products and services. To meet or exceed personal and departmental sales goals, you'll need excellent customer service goals and an entrepreneurial worldwide business acumen and a professional sales philosophy. Okay? Oh, okay, no worries. I'll move slower. So I have a request here to move slower because some are switching screens on a mobile device. So what I just did was I was reading the sales representative actual screen that you see in front of you. It's the only time I'm going to read to you. So I will definitely slow down though. Thank you for letting me know. I get super passionate about what I'm talking about. So there you hear the speed come in with the passion. All right, everybody see this? Remember what I said, you're going to have 6. Oh, when you start the resume. Okay, got it. Thank you. I'm with you now. It's on the same page, and we are actually going to look at a resume page. So here we go. We only, though, even though you asked me to slow down, I'm still only going to give you 6 to 7 seconds, and I will call time because it's important for you to understand what an actual resume reader or decision maker is going through and the time that your resume has to really capture their attention and get them to say, tell me more, or think, tell me more. All right, everybody ready? 6 to 7 seconds. I have got my stopwatch on. Here we go. All right, stop. Yes or no? Let me know in the question box. Oh, a lot of no's. 1 yes, Mostly no's though, majority no, 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 no. So let's talk about Asha's resume strengths, right? This is where I will slow down through this part. The resume strengths of Rasha are first of all, or Asha, is the clear headings. Look at this here in the left-hand margin. You can really tell skills, they're brought out. You can really tell experience. It's all brought out and highlighted. So somebody doesn't have to dig for this. Remember what I said about being inundated. I was hiring, and some of you who have been with a webinar with me before know that a couple of months ago, we were hiring for an engineer, a website engineer. And within the first 14 minutes, I got 78 resumes and quickly chose from there 7 that I wanted to interview. And that was it. So that's, and I had to do that in 30 minutes. So, you know, I spent just less than 6 to 7 seconds on all the resumes. So you see those headings brought out there. All right. You also see there's a lot of white space. This is really important. As human beings, we need that white space between our text and between photos, because the reason that we're consuming the content is we need that breathing space. When you start cluttering, when you feel like, oh my gosh, I've got so many years of experience, now I've got to just flood this page with all of my experience, you actually overwhelm the person who's reviewing the resumes, and they put it aside because they don't want to know more. It's too much. They want something easier to read. Make it easy to read by using nice margins and nice white space. Okay. Now, some of the opportunities Asha has for Asha's resume are these. And yes, I do see you, Laura. Hello, Laura. I see you, Ivy, as well. And just because you've commented here, you are going to get a copy of today's webinar recording and the slides, but it'll come 24 hours from now because it takes that long for the system to render. Okay. All right. So now you can see here that Asha's opportunities is that Asha needs to build out a relevant summary. While, remember, we're going for a sales representative. We read through the job description together, and maybe some of these pieces about childcare or basic web design aren't specific to this particular position. Know that when you put a relevant summary together, it does have to match. It is very much personalized to the job that you're applying to. You never should have just one resume that fits all. This is not how that works with resumes. Everyone is customized to the job that you're applying to, and I'm going to show you how you can streamline that so you have a slew of resumes to pull from, okay? The next thing is also tailoring the experience to the position. Take a look at the position here, that it might not be something that is specific to this position. Your resume is your highlight reel. This is not your chronological order of your job history. That's for the application. Your resume is your highlight reel, and its one and only job is to get the interviewer or decision maker to think and ask, tell me more. Now let's look at Adams. We've got 6 to 7 seconds, everybody. I'm starting the stopwatch now. Stop. All right. Yes or no for Adam? So for those who just joined in, what we're doing is we're reviewing resumes, and we're saying in the 6 to 7 seconds, which is the average amount of time that a decision maker looks at your resume, would you not just hire, sorry, but would you want this person to tell you more? Would you want to know more about this person? So I'm seeing still a majority no, everybody. And you can just put a wire in if you want to there. But it's really a landslide no. A couple of yeses, but mostly no's. All right. Let's look at Adam's resume strengths, shall we? First are the skills and accomplishments. It's really nice to see that here and brought out because it does show more about what Adam can do. A lot of his problem solving skills here are brought up too. Plus, he's got, it looks like a really good coding background is what I'm seeing here in his skills and accomplishments. But his opportunities, let's really talk about his opportunities here and what's missing in his resume. He doesn't describe the role and responsibilities. This is really important, everyone, because a lot of times we just put our title there and we expect that the person reading the resume or the machine reading the resume will absolutely understand what that title means. The problem is when you get down to the people part, when people are actually looking at this resume, you are now having to deal with the excess baggage or the misinformation they might have about that position. So for example, if I walked into a room today and I told you, hey, I'm Maria Elena Duron and I'm an IRS agent, you're going to have some real feelings about me. If I was standing on stage right now, I could just feel the wave of frowns across the whole room when they were excited to see me. But now that I said I'm an IRS agent, you don't want to see me anymore. Again, you don't want to have to be bogged down by the baggage and the experience somebody has with a role. So describe it out. And the key here, the master tip, is to use the words that they use in their job description to tie it, to be able to describe it out and tie it together. This is where you have the chance for somebody to start reading through here and think, oh, this person would fit in this position. They're a good match. Look how they match on all the different criteria because of their past experience. So you have this there. Also, keep the experience details consistent, right? You want to be really consistent with the information that you're sharing here. Remember, this is a highlight reel, this resume. It is not your chronological order of everything that you've done. Hello, Lonnie, I see you here. I'm so glad that you're here too. We're going through resumes and looking at opportunities and strengths of the resume. So we're about to do one. On average, most people only look at resumes 6 to 7 seconds, most decision makers. That is the going industry average. So if you're ready, I'm going to go ahead and go to the next one. You've got 6 to 7 seconds. Just put a Y or N in the question box when I call time. Ready? Let's go. Stop. Yes or no? Okay, some yes for Titus. We've got some yeses this time, a little bit more yeses than we had for the other two. Oh, but a lot of no's. Here come the no's. Everybody had to think about it a little bit. All right, no worries. No worries. Love, love, love that you're saying that here. All right, let's take a look and see what the resume strengths are of Titus, okay? His strength is that it's simple, readable language. All right, we want to make this nice and simple for people to see as they're scanning. All you add is 6 to 7 seconds, and you see how quickly that happens, right? But then his opportunities, let's talk about this. Titus has a photo here. I'm not sure why he has a photo. If you're in an Asian country, then this is considered best practice, normal practice, and you do want to put a photo there if we were in Asia. But since he's in the United States, I'm looking here in Houston, and let's just say he's applying here in Houston, then what he needs to do is, does he really have to have a photo there? If he does, it should be a professional photo. This is a time for your Instagram profile or your TikTok profile. This is time for you to be a little bit more professional, okay? So maybe you looked at LinkedIn as opposed to Instagram, right? So take a look at this, but does it make sense? Does he really need to have it? Unless there was a call in the job description, which I didn't see when I read through it, then there's no need to have that photo in there. Also, he has typos, everybody. Look at this, F-I-E-L-D-D-S, spell check, spell check. Have somebody else look at it because you always look over different mistakes until you send it off, right? Isn't that what always happens? And make sure you spell check what you're sending out because your resume is considered the highlight reel. This is your best work, top of the line, right? But if you have a typo in your top of the line, what are you going to do with my everyday work? What are you going to do here on the job? I don't want to have anything to deal with you. Now I'm going on to the next resume. The minute I see a typo, a smudge, or where it looks like it's so disorganized, I go on to the next one. Don't even take another look at that at all. And I know most of my colleagues actually do the same because they're just way too busy, too many resumes to look at to slow down and try to figure things out. All right, another one is to avoid the distracting fonts and colors, everybody. You know what? We all have access to different fonts, but it's not necessary here. You need to stay within 2 fonts. Don't veer off of 2 fonts and don't veer off of 2 colors, okay? Because it's just too much. It's just like cluttering the mind. And once you do that, now they go to the next resume. It's too much to consume. And because it's so hard to absorb and for the eyes to see and to read, they go on to the next. So this is really distracting. He's got a couple of different fonts going on here and several different colors. We've got black, we've got green, we've got blue, and then of course he's got his gray here in his photo. So there's just a lot going on here. All right, let's go to the next one. 6 to 7 seconds. Let me reset my timer. Ready, everybody? Go. Stop. All right. What do we think of Jason? Yes or no? Ooh, lots of too busies here. Now, everybody's been pretty good about yes, no, but now there's some feelings coming out about this one, right? It's too busy, too busy, too busy. Very, very busy. Yep. Looks like a news article. Great, great call there, Ivy. I agree. Rosalind, I agree. Denisha also, too busy. Somebody said this looks like their resume. All right, let's talk about the strengths of Jason's resume. He is using a right font, a good professional font. Where Titus failed on the font, he actually did really, really well on the font. But there's a lot to work on here. Number one, let's take a look at the white space. Remember what I said about letting something breathe and giving it space for somebody to consume that? It's the same thing also with search engines. So even as tools are going through this is super cluttered. So if somebody's submitting this electronically, this is overwhelming. And understand that the day of the 2-column resume is over. Okay, this 2-column, other than you just pulling skills out, but him having a full paragraph here, why, oh, why would you do that? Then now you look at his actual experience. He has irrelevant experience here. Remember, this is not a biography of you and your work life. This is the highlight reel. Your resume, if you walk away with any quote, it's a highlight reel. Absolutely. It's overwhelming. I'm overwhelmed too. Somebody just made a comment about that. No focus, can't skim it, too hard. So as you look at this, what do you need to remove to be able to give him the kind of space to showcase exactly his skill set? We also need to exclude the unnecessary links. I mean, we don't need to know what his Twitter handle is, his Instagram handle, or his website, right? We just need to know how to contact him. And maybe we don't even need all that other than phone number and email address. We may not even need street. There's a lot of remote jobs now. People may not even need to know that you're in the area, so you don't even need to include that. And that's something that you can include in the application, but not in the resume. This is the highlight reel, everybody. And then eliminate all this crowded text. That's just too much. Now, understand, I have been out of, I graduated from college almost 35 years ago. So I have 35 years worth of experience. If I wanted to, I could fill this out. In fact, that's the biggest challenge with anybody who has a lot of work experience is they want to send a resume that's 3-4 pages long. They're acting like it's just their CV that they need to send out. Well, that's not the truth. This is the highlight reel. 1 page, remember, 6 to 7 seconds. Do you think if it has more than 1 page that it's even going to make the first screening? Because it usually doesn't. In fact, most of the people that are in the decision-making role, their first thing will say that, oh, the easiest part to get rid of is anything that's over 1 page. Get rid of all those first. Don't even look at those. Now start looking through the ones you can read and then review those. Okay, so it's really, really important. That white space is nothing that we need to take lightly. Let me see, I've got a question here from Ivy. Oh, no, I'm glad this is helpful. I'm so glad this is helpful because these are the portions that we need to know about. The 2-column, that's over. That's so 1970s resume. We don't do that anymore. All right, Leanna, let's give her 6 to 7 seconds. Everybody go. Stop. All right, yes or no for Leanna? Okay, I see some yeses, no's. Ooh, a few maybes this time. Haven't had maybes before. No, can't read the font. No, hard to read. Don't really like the font. Terrible font. Font is bad. Maybe, some maybes there. Okay, let's talk about her strengths. Very professional, straight to the point, but hard to read. Let's talk about that. So her strength is she has a detailed summary. Boy, Leanna really is killing it when it comes to the summary, because she's matching it to the actual job description. She puts here she's a seasoned business analyst with 6+ years experience increasing profitability. So she goes on to see how she actually matches the leadership role that they're looking for in somebody managing the sales team. So she's got that going for her. She also cites specific examples and gives measurable details. I know it's hard to read because her font choice is terrible. We'll talk about that in opportunities. But look here, she talks about she identified redundancies in client profiles, leading to an average annual savings of $37,000 per company. So not only is she giving you something measurable, she's giving you the tangible $37,000. So it's not just save money. Now it's $37,000 per company. So she really is explaining the role and not putting any extra baggage or obstacles in her way from somebody else having another experience with that role. Okay. But let's talk about the resume strengths. Since the resume is a highlight reel, will the applicant be faulted by gaps in employment? No. No, Lakeisha, absolutely not. That is for the application to answer, not the resume at all. So that is one of the hardest lessons for people to learn in resume writing, is because they think it needs to be a chronological description or account of their actual work experience, and it does not. It is a highlight reel, and the application is where you do have to address gaps in employment. Does that make sense? After zooming in to read, yes, you really have to zoom in to read. And that's part of the reason I'm not on camera, is just because I wanted this to fill the whole screen and not my camera. But you see her opportunities are, she needs to choose a clear, legible font. This is really hard, everybody. I would not have spent time looking at this as we're doing this exercise, because that's just really hard to read. So I would leave it immediately. There are other resumes to look at. Also, you can see she's working for the same company, Deloitte, but Deloitte in San Diego and Deloitte in Las Vegas. She can actually combine those positions with the same company, and it will actually come across stronger, because not only did she start as a business analyst, she promoted herself. She earned the right to go to senior business analyst. And there's a lot of initiative in there, as well as skill set that people already see when you see somebody going from one title, staying with a company, and then increasing to another title. So you really see that here as she brought on more, and she showed that she can take on the leadership role. Makes sense? I've got some questions here. Quite a few aha points. I've got a lot of work to do on your resume. Yes, which fonts are best? So Times Roman is best, but Georgia also does well with that too. You can do Arial, but there is, you've heard about sans, which is where you have the different edges, and where you don't. So again, it really depends on your style, but just make it easy to read. This one, as you can see, is not easy to read. So even though it's the right kind of font, it's too light. In this particular, this might be a different kind of format of Times Roman, or a light Georgia, or even a light, which I'm not even picking up what else that could be. Could be a Garamond, a light one. Anyway, I would go with something simple that every machine has. So you want to stay within your Times Roman and Arial, because every machine has that. Does that make sense? All right, perfect. Okay, now if you can't register, not to worry. I can't pick up the system's not going to pick up your email at all from here, so it is just going to go to the person that registered. But if you can register even afterwards, that would be great, just to make sure that you get that. Okay, so let's look at our next one. 6 to 7 seconds, everybody. All right, ready? Let's go. Stop. Yes or no? Lots of no's. No's, no's, no's. Well, a few yeses. Fancy, but no. I hear you, Raven. I hear you. Another picture, right? Unless they call for it. But at least in Ibrahim's case, it is a professional photo. It's not that side thoughtful shot that Titus had, right? Yes, without a pic. No. Let me see. Clarification about the 2 columns. Most resume templates say 2 column, meaning the skills and accomplishments pulled out. That's different. Yes, different to have that. But again, what I'm talking about is the 2 column where you're operating almost like a news article. Donna, I hope that clarifies that for you. All right. Can you use colors in resumes? You can, but no more than 2. Any more than 2, it starts looking like clutter, and it looks disorganized. That's the way the mind reads it. And remember, people get a gut feeling from things on whether they're going to go on, or they say, tell me more, or no. And a lot of that has to do with font and color when you're looking at a resume. So let's look at Ibrahim's strengths. First, he does have a professional photo. If this required it, then that's good. He would be golden. But again, it may not have required it. And I know for this position, it did not, as we read through the actual job description together. He has a lot of white space, which is really, really nice. So even though he has the 2 columns pulled out, he's done it well. So there's nothing wrong with doing this, but you just don't want it to run like a news article, okay? Now his opportunities, what can Ibrahim actually work on? He has to proofread. Everybody, please proofread everything. This is you at your absolute best. And you should, between a resume and your actual first interview, anybody can tiptoe and look really good for 30 minutes to an hour. We want to know what they're going to be like on the job. And if this is the highlight reel and they're making typos, then forget it. I want to have nothing to do with it. All right, so some of the common resume mistakes that we see here. we see number one, first of all, is that it's very sparse or there's not enough info. So it's just really, really limited. Like, for example, Adam, who is just going by the actual titles. Or it could be crowded or hard to understand, like Jason's. My gosh, look at this. It's just awful every time I see that. It's just so hard to consume any of that information, even though he's using the right kind of fonts. But when we talk about fonts, let's look at Titus's. I mean, it's too distracting. There's 3 different fonts going on here. There are 3 different colors. That's just too much. 2 is the max. It is the absolute max. Plus, there are typos. He didn't even spell become or fields correctly. So that tells me that's not somebody I want on the job who's willing to submit his best work with mistakes. No, thank you. Okay, so some other mistakes that we see happening here, if when you look at Leanna's, is again, she has multiple typos. So we didn't even see that because we didn't stop to read it because the font was so faint, we wanted nothing to do with it, right? So that she did have some issue here because she did have some typos. Again, if I was trying to decide who I work with the minute I saw this first typo or read through it, because the machine would probably highlight it just like it did here, see the little red marks underneath, I would go on to the next person. So for you, keep this in mind, these 4 strategies. You want to choose a good professional format, and you do want to highlight your skills and accomplishments. Really speak out, write out exactly what each job title did and means. Have specific examples and measurable details. Remember what I said about that, being able to say, we made more money for the company, but not just that, it was $37,000. That is something that really resonates with somebody reviewing a resume or making a decision. And then tailor every resume to the job. So there is not one resume, it's not one size fits all. Never should be, okay? So as we look at the different resumes in front of you, you see the traditional resume, which is what Asha used, and then you see the more creative. Abraham is definitely somebody I might consider if I was hiring for a graphic designer or creative director, because he's showing a little bit of that flair even just by using some different paper and color in the background. So he's doing it well for those positions, but this is a sales position, and sales leadership and sales management may not be what I need to look at in this format, so I'd go on to the next resume. You also see here, there's lots of white space in a professional resume. It's simple, readable language, and it's not because the recruiter or the person reviewing the resume is stupid. It is because they are busy. They're busy not only doing other things, usually having more than one hat in the position that they're doing or in the job that they're working in, but then they're also trying to hire too. There's usually a need, and they have to somewhere fill that pretty quickly, okay? Clear headings and appropriate font is also very, very important. Now, one of the things I'd like to encourage you to do is if you have a free Gmail account, so if you already have a free Gmail account, you're golden. You have access to all the free Google tools already available to you. If you don't have a Gmail account, you don't have to change your email to Gmail. You can just get a free personal Google account. So you don't even have to have the paid version. And in there are resume templates already built out for you. And all you have to do is customize that with your information. So let me show you what this looks like. The animation is showing it to you there to you quickly. Tried to say that too quickly, Michelle. Sorry about that. Let me show you this. I'm going to throw this in front of you. This is what the Gmail looks like. This is my demo account. Now, if you have a Gmail account and you log in, this is where you head. If you just get a free Google account, this is what it looks like when you get into your free Google account. So you have your own email, don't even worry about it. But if you want to set up a free Google account to access the tools I'm going to show you next, then all you need to do is sign up at google.com/account. So you're going to go to this URL, google.com/accounts, plural. And because I'm signed in, it's already bringing me here, but you'll have the chance to actually walk through. You'll create you'll put your email address in, and you'll create a password. So like any other password protected site online, that's how you'll get there. If you want me to show you how to do that, I'm happy to do that. All right. What if you don't have measurable things to highlight? We're going to talk about that in just a moment, Carla, what you can highlight. Because I'm going to take you through some of the words you can use and how you can pull out what some of the keywords are in the job description that we read together, okay? So when you're in your Google account, which is what it looks like here on the screen, or when you're in your Gmail account, you'll see what's known as the app keypad here. It's at the top right-hand corner. When you hover over it, it looks like a keypad or a waffle. We trainers call it the app waffle. but it says when you hover over it, Google Apps, it's either next to your profile picture here or your initials if you haven't uploaded a picture. When you click here, you can get to all the free Google tools you have access to, and then even more. The same thing happens if you decided not to get a Gmail account, but you just want to use a free Google account. You head to the app keypad, you go here, and what you're going to do first is go to Drive. Google Drive is a storage place for everything. It stores every kind of file there is. You don't even have to have a program associated with it. When you go here, you are going to click New. You're going to hover over Google Docs. Google Docs works just like Word, no additional licensing or anything needed. You have this available through your free account, and you're going to say from a template. When you go from a template, I know this is opening screens on you. That's just the way it works, but I'll make it bigger. You can now see all the resume templates you have available to you. What you do, this is the template gallery. When you click on it, it actually brings that into your Drive, your storage space. So you're not changing the template gallery, you just click here. You'll see the little ball here that it's thinking, and now it has brought it into your Drive. Now you can start customizing everything that you need to within here, okay? And I'm happy to walk you through that at the end if you'd like to see that better. But this is really about improving your strategy instead of how to use this Google tool, but I'm happy to show you that afterwards, okay? It's showing you here when you do get a copy of the slides and when you get a copy of the recording, it'll show you how you can walk through here, how to do that and implement your 4 strategies, but you'll see the animation like you just saw on this last screen if you want to learn more about accessing Google Docs and using that as your tool, okay? But again, let me know in Q&A if you want me to do that. All right, the next thing is to highlight your skills and accomplishments. This is really important for you to do because you are the one who knows your job backwards and forwards and the skill set you learn from there. So in this next exercise, I want you to look at things that, first of all, you want to include your most recent work or your most recent experience that actually applies to the job description. You do not want to include any other job. So remember what I said about letting go, just let go of the feeling that this is a biography or chronological order of your work experience. It's not. You're going to eliminate any jobs that are not relevant, and you can include any volunteer or part-time jobs, because even if you didn't get paid for it, it is still you. It's still you, the same person, learning that skill set, doing those same things, gaining that same experience, okay? So as we look through the sales representative, this is the same job description we started with before we went through the resumes. I'm not going to read it to you here, but here's the challenge. You see all these different positions someone had. How do these positions relate to this being a sales representative? Remember how it's very important to customize every resume. No resume is one size fit all. It needs to be customized for the job description. That's why I like to use Google Docs, because it's easy to have 20, 30 different resumes there and easy to find them too. So I'll talk to you more about that if you want me to at the end. But let's go through this challenge, right? So if you were a wait staff, how would this apply? If you're a cashier, if you're a volunteer even, remember volunteers, we're still people also. Yes, and you will get a copy of today's slides and recording when it renders, which is going to be 24 hours from now. So don't expect it this afternoon, but you will get it, Dion. So thank you for asking. All right, let's go in and talk about how this works in the challenge and see how each of these positions could actually apply and be relevant to this sales representative job. For the wait staff, for example, they identified upsell opportunities. Would you like fries with that? Okay. Would you like this? Would you care for any dessert? So they did look at opportunities where they could increase the average order value of a person or a table. The cashier actually has experience engaging with customers. How was your stay here at the Cracker Barrel? Did you have a wonderful time? Did you enjoy being here at the pizzeria? So they have a chance to talk to them. I hope you loved it, enjoy it. Hope you'll come back really soon. We're having to have a great special on Thursday. Volunteer work, they raise funds from area businesses. So even in volunteer work, no matter where you did it, whether it was for work, school, church, any of the PTO organizations or any of the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, no matter where you're involved, you raised funds and you have that experience of going to ask and also be rejected, but also starting to develop relationships with people, business owners within your community. That's big, because people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. Sometimes we go to work for an organization and they remember that we fundraise somewhere for some cause, but they know you, right? They really know you. A bank teller builds they have a really built product built-in product expertise that they've learned. So they learned every aspect of every product to be able to answer any need of somebody who comes to the window. Babysitter, they showcase their responsibility. You know, when you're responsible for little people that are valuable to parents, so then yes, you've got some responsibility. And then freelance blogging, this person negotiated rates with publications. As you look at your job titles that you've had, how could you make that apply to a job that you're applying for? The second other tip that I want to leave you with too is this. You can utilize Google Docs, which this is my favorite way to use Google Docs, as a brain dump, because a lot of us, when we're putting together our resume, get involved with emotion and a little bit of nostalgia. What happens is we wonder, okay, when did I have this job? Was it this job before this job? So we start looking it up, or what's that phone number? Or was it in August or in October when I left there? We start going through that information, and now we start having feelings, and we remember everybody that we worked with, maybe even a project that we finished, and all of a sudden we're trying to apply for a job. And it's the first 14 minutes this job opportunity is available, but we've spent it searching for information, trying to find a phone number, and now being a little bit nostalgic. Who gets the opportunity? Remember what I said a moment ago when I first started, saying that I was hiring for a data analyst. And the first 15 minutes, how many we had applied, that I never looked at any applications past the first 15 minutes. Just like with anything else, timing is everything. So when you do a brain dump of all your work experience, you have it here already ready. When you see a job come up, you just have to copy paste, do this, copy paste, use this. You can do that for the application, you can do it for your resume, but it makes you now nimble enough to respond in a time where you have opportunity still available to you. Make sense to everybody? Now, how do hiring managers view a particular resume format being different from what's on your LinkedIn profile as it relates to customization? Oh, they're when you're reading, you know, when even electronic readers are doing it, and when a hiring manager is doing it, they're reading to see if this person's going to be a good fit for their organization. Just like in an interview, we look at somebody and say, does this person fit into our organization? We read through their highlight reel in a resume to see, are they going to fit? Do I want them to tell me more because I'm interested and intrigued? That's how that fits. So if you do a resume just from LinkedIn and you do it just from your LinkedIn profile information, now you're in the one size fits all issue, which is a problem, because if it doesn't match any of the things that people are looking for, they'll go on to the next one. There are many other opportunities to find somebody who does match what they're looking for. So I don't like to use the LinkedIn profile other than, hey, this is where you can see my information, but that's where you can do additional research and profile. Here's the resume I'm submitting. This is the highlight reel. And let me give you one other hint. When you are submitting a resume, never ever submit a resume in a Google Doc or in a Microsoft Word format. And here's the reason why. Remember when we looked at Jason's jumbled resume? Remember how awful that looked like? Well, if you're submitting a resume in a doc format or in Microsoft Word format, and you submit it to somebody, you are now subjecting yourself to the margins that they have on their device, on their machine, which means that all the time that you spent putting in nice white space, making sure all the sentences flowed, there were no broken sentences, no weird gaps, all of that is for naught. Because now when it comes in, let's say you have an inch on the top, inch on the bottom margin, and then half an inch on the left and the right side. But on their device, they have half an inch on the top and bottom and an inch on the left and the right side. Now it looks like you just submitted a jumbled mess. And who's going to look at that? Download your resume in PDF format. Let me show you that real quick, how to do that in Google Docs. All right. In Google Docs, you can download in whatever format you want to. Go over here. So I'm clicked on File, click on Download. And you can see I can download this in PDF format. What PDF format means, PDF stands for Portable Document Format. That means it keeps the quality, the integrity of the document. Everything that you laid out, all the space that you put in, it doesn't change it. It's also the quickest way to send something electronically because it doesn't have to read all the different margins. It sends it as it is. It's a portable document format. It is the best way to send the resume, and it is the #1 mistake people send because they think they send it in a Microsoft Word or they send it as an email attachment as a Word, and it just opens up at the machine that it's being received at whatever margins they have it set at. So you're putting obstacles in for yourself where you don't need to, okay? Another best practice is to cite specific examples and measure those details. I saw there were some questions about that, so let's talk about this a moment. When we look at Asha's resume and we look at the specific projects that Asha had, we need to start looking at, how are some of those goals actually attained and what are the numbers? So it's not just general, presented research at a convention attended by 100,000 people, an audience of 7,000 people. That speaks volumes compared to you presented research and there were 2 people in the room and one of them was really paying attention to me, okay? So for example, as we look at this, let's say you were a team lead at a big box store. That was your actual job. So these are the 4 things that you did. You managed the team. That was relevant to what you're actually applying here for this position. You trained new employees, you ran meetings effectively, and you sold more than the sales target. That's okay, that's good. But what's even more powerful is when you make it measurable. So in this instance, look at that measuring. Not only did he manage a team, because it could have been a team of 1, he managed a team of 8 employees, from new hires to 15-year-old company members. That's big. When you have to work with people who've been there, done that, and they see somebody new coming along, the way you manage them is different from somebody coming in just bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, going, okay, I have know nothing and I'm ready to learn. Compared to somebody who is, this is the way we've always done it and we don't do it any other way. Remember that? So look at how you can break this out, just how much volume and strength that puts behind this managed team when they have these kind of details. Train new employees, not just 1 new employee, several new employees. Look at that, 15 in 2 years, that's huge. Then ran not just a meeting effectively, one meeting, I ran 1 Christmas meeting. No, they ran weekly meetings with 20 attendees. And who was attending there? So they were also reporting up and across as well. And not only did they exceed sales, but by 20%. Exceeding that company goal. So you see the details there. Do that for yourself. Do yourself a favor and do that brain dump that I was talking about of all your experience, and then really write it out, because you want to do that now. That's the heavy lifting and the homework that you need to do now. So when the opportunity presents itself, you have it right at your fingertips. You are nimble enough to just go for it. So for example, somebody who's a volunteer, they served meals to a shelter, or they organized holiday events. Let's take it to the next level and really look at, they served over 200 shelter residents. So it's not just a couple of people. Over 6 months, they weren't just there because their church was there for a day. They were there for 6 months. And they didn't just organize a holiday event. They had to get money. They had to do a lot of coordinating, deciding how much food to actually get. It was very involved. There's a huge skill set there that they are leaving behind by just saying organized holiday events. And then you do have to tailor that resume. Remember what I said about the resume does not need to be one size fits all. You need to look at your resume and pick out keywords. Actually, when you look at the job description, does your resume have the keywords that will match? Electronic readers are looking for these keywords. So for example, as we look at the sales representative position, take a good look at that. We read through that before. What are the words that are important in this actual description? You need to manage, identify, locate, expand, design, deliver. You see all of these and they're mostly verbs, right? How can you include this now in your resume? That you have managed, you've identified, you've located and expanded markets. Look for that in your job description from the brain dump that you did with all of your experience, and see where you can flesh this out a little bit more to share in a resume. All right, so to review, we talked about the professional font. Try to stay within the most common fonts that people have in machines, and that is Times Roman, Arial, and it's also Calibri, okay? Also, highlight your skills and accomplishments. Highlight reel, everybody. Remember the highlight reel always, not a chronological order of your job, the jobs you've held. Cite examples and be specific. Be specific to be terrific. I'm telling you that will do you such wonder to be able to customize and tailor that resume as we look at tip number 4 to exactly what somebody is looking for. When you can do that, you now have the chance in that 6 to 7 seconds to have somebody say, all right, tell me more. Keep a list. That's a best practice because it keeps you super nimble. And that way you can just pull from it whenever the opportunity arises. You can also track every step, so I can show you that too if you want me to demo that, but we are getting about 2 minutes till time, and I do want to end on time, but I want to show you can track, and I like people to do this actually within Google Sheets. This works just like Excel. It's free to use in your Google account, and you can now track even what resume. You can put a link to the resume that you sent there, so if you are called in for an interview, you can click on that and know exactly what the job description is and the resume that you submitted to them, so you can track all of that. You can also use Google Slides, which Google Slides works just like PowerPoint. There's an entire template gallery there too, and you have access to that, and you can do a portfolio if you needed to. In this position, he did not, or they do not need to, but for example, Ibrahim is who I was thinking of as a graphic designer. If he was applying for graphic designer, he could do that as well, okay? So your next steps, if you want to take a screenshot of that before we finish up, feel free to do that. Let me get my pointer right out of the way. Remember, you'll get a copy of today's slides and the recording from today within 24 hours. So it's not going to be today, but it will be within 24 hours sent to the email that you registered under, and because you've commented in the question box, okay? All right, if you need any other training, I would get with who invited you, so the Google partners that invited you. Excuse me, just a moment. What sticks in wind here? But I would get with the Google partner that invited you, because they actually have the team members and the ability to help you and answer any of your questions that you have. And they have the boots on the ground. They're definitely vested in your success, and they're much easier to reach than I am, okay? All right, everybody. Now it's time for Q&A. So as I promised before, I'll stop the